Bethesda Game Studios opened this morning at 9:30 a.m. and they posted tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern. And it's just a picture with a big old 4 on it. Tomorrow, 4/22, on YouTube and Twitch, doing a reveal. Now, why do I think this is utterly brilliant instead of just shadow dropping it today? They got everybody to pay attention today, thinking the game was shadow dropping today, and then they announce that they're going to do the full reveal tomorrow while everybody's watching and aware of it.
Avery V donated $15 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Hey you're finally awake. You were trying to play Oblivion, right? Walked right into Bethesda's ambush, same as this.
They
and
got
those
you.
Streamers over there.
Oh, you're awake. You're awake. I do want to say, Will posted in through a very generous super chat. He said, I don't expect the game to drop alongside the announcement. Shelter is the only one, Fallout Shelter is the only time they've done that, but I anticipate a full-blown remake, hoping they say expect more ES news later this year. I think the odds are pretty high that they actually do drop it, because yes, BGS has never done like a full shadow drop aside from the mobile game before, but Bethesda Softworks has. Bethesda Softworks is the same publishing body that published Tango Gameworks' game Hi-Fi Rush, and that was a shadow drop. So we can look at it and be like, oh, well, technically, you know, BGS hasn't done this, but Bethesda Softworks has. So, you know, it depends on the lens through which you look at it. But I do think there's a high likelihood that they actually do just drop it. And part of this is because of some of the other information that we've seen come out. For example, Oblivion Remastered on SteamDB was discovered. The listing was actually found, which is interesting. So they believe they've hunted that down and found it, which would again imply that it's very, very close. There's been other faked things like this. This is one of the most hilariously stupid fakes I've seen. Somebody's like, I saw it on my Game Pass page. Look how bad this is. They literally just copy and pasted the square on top of it. Like doesn't even line up. It doesn't even line up right. You see it overlaps. But I've been getting stuff like this sent to me all weekend of people just getting super hyped. And a lot of it is real. A lot of it is fake as hell, which like whatever, we're having a good time. We're having fun. But I think what seems to be the consensus is that they are very close. They are tying this up nicely in a tight bow. But almost certainly maybe the bigger takeaway is that this has to be one of the like most poorly kept secrets in recent gaming history. Like it really is remarkable. It's really fascinating because I do think this would have been like a mind-blowing reveal for it to just drop out of nowhere. But instead, it almost seems like they've given up on trying to keep it a secret at this point. Like even on Twitch, people were saying that they found the category on Twitch officially. Like I think at some point they just kind of gave up, which is fine. And that you can see it's possible somebody else just added it and Twitch approved it, but Twitch approved it and they only in theory are supposed to approve official like real games. So either way, like they kind of gave up on it. And I appreciate that it's like a surprise and they're you know that they tried to make it a shadow drop, because the shadow drop would have been really, really cool. It's just really hard to keep something as a shadow drop when it's on that scale. It's why somebody asked me the other day, they're like, do you think that we're going to see GTA 6 be a shadow drop at this point? And on the one hand, you're like, it would be really funny and they could do that and still sell millions and millions of copies. But there is no way on earth, no way that they would be able to do that without it leaking, without somebody saying with a leaky lip, just being like, oh yeah, by the way, this is happening. Because that's how this stuff leaks, is that it's one person in the marketing team who sends an email to a reporter and is like, hey, just so you know, this is happening. Or they're out at a bar and they say something. There's been cases of like major game leaks happening because two people got a beer at like PAX East and they were sitting next to a journalist and they didn't realize it, and they're talking about a secret project. And then that's how the information starts spreading. Something as simple as that can cause all of this to collapse. It's like those old stories. Do you remember the old stories of the iPhone when the iPhone X was coming out? Like this, the first all screen one. Wow. That had the big forehead on it. You remember this? The iPhone X. This was seen because a like Apple engineer was using it at a bar in like Washington, D.C. or something. Somebody like took a picture of it over his shoulder, and that's how it started to leak that it was happening. It's just somebody thinks that they're fine, they're alone, they don't need to worry about it. That's how this stuff starts to leak. So I don't think there's any way that something like GTA 6 could be secret and kept secret that long. And I also think that there's no way that Oblivion remaster, remake, whatever, could be kept a secret that long. Because this was the moment that it started to, the boulder started to roll. I don't think there was any stopping that, because once people know that this is coming, they start to dig. A lot of this stuff could stay hidden for a long time. Those leaked pictures and side-by-side comparisons and stuff allegedly were on the Virtuous website for a while, and they were only found after somebody went in and started digging through the whatever. I don't know how it works. Like wherever they store the pictures for the website, you can apparently dig through a lot of it, but they only found these side-by-side comparisons and stuff. This one I think they made from scratch, but they only found like these pictures once they started digging. But if they hadn't dug, those would still be sitting there and nobody would have found them. But it's only because all the attention is on it that this stuff starts to really leak and pick up speed. And even a game like this, Virtuos has like 4,000 employees. Almost certainly all of them know that they were working on this. Not all 4,000 were working on this, but they work in the same company. They probably had heard, oh, where's Tim working at? Oh, Tim is working on he's working on the Oblivion thing. Okay. Like almost certainly all of those people knew about it. People within Microsoft's marketing teams knew about it. People within ZeniMax, people within Bethesda Softworks, Bethesda Game Studios. There's a lot, thousands upon thousands of people knew about this. And so it was, it just takes one leaky lip to make this start to spread, and that seems to be what happened. Either way, I think how they've handled it has been solid. They could have just shadow dropped it today and just been like, "Yep, play, have fun. You knew, you got us." They could have done that, but instead they got everybody's attention to be on Monday. Whether that was intentional or not, or some glitch with the AI bot or whatever it was, they were like, "Okay, everybody's attention is on right now. Okay, let's announce the announcement, get them even more excited, so everybody tunes into the reveal, and then we'll shadow drop it after the reveal." Because some people have been, as the super chat brought up, maybe they don't even release it tomorrow. It's just like, oh, we'll release it next, like later this year or something. I don't think they do that. I think the odds are much higher that they actually do shadow drop it, because a lot of the leaks and stuff have been coming from sources saying that the strategy has been from the beginning to shadow drop it. Just because everybody knows about it now does not mean that they're just going to sit on the game for 6 months. And I think that that's accurate and fair. Like this has been the goal for a long time, is to drop it and put it out there for people to enjoy. And I think delaying it wouldn't make sense unless they were worried that it could trample on like Expedition 33's hype through Game Pass, because that's a Game Pass Day 1 title, even though it's also releasing on like PlayStation and PC and everything. But even then, like, I don't know if it cannibalizes too much, because Oblivion is like, Oblivion and Expedition 33 are both RPGs, but they're different. Like one is a like first person adventure game that has RPG stuff in it. The other is this like really narrative cinematic game that takes nods from old school RPGs and like old school Final Fantasy games, that type of thing. So I'm not sure if the overlap is that crazy high, but it's not insignificant, probably. Yeah, it's like strategy versus adventure. I'm not sure. It's whatever it is. If they end up dropping this tomorrow for people to play, I think it shows that they're pretty confident that they're not going to cannibalize each other too much. Whether that's right or not, who knows? But I'm very interested in it. We did a survey, a poll over on the Discord, on stream. I pasted it to the Discord, where I asked you guys about some of the features that you expect to see with this. Because I've said for a long time, since this was first starting to get rumored, I was like, there is a high likelihood that this game ends up being more like graphically and technologically impressive than Elder Scrolls 6 ends up being. Because ES6 is going to be built with the same engine and toolkit that they used for Starfield. And I think, Unreal Engine has plenty of shortcomings, plenty of problems, but Unreal Engine 5 has a lot of strengths too. And those strengths directly compete with what Elder Scrolls or what BGS puts forward, which I don't think you can dismiss. And out of those things that you guys we asked you, I asked like just very quickly, do they remove the constant load screens in the Oblivion remake? Meaning when you go in and out of doors, when you go in and out of caves, do they still have big load screens? And a solid like 38% of you think they do get rid of it. And if that's the case, I mean, you will probably see, I can already see the comparison videos. Just imagine like Elder Scrolls 6 versus Oblivion remaster, Oblivion remake, whatever. The side-by-sides are, I mean, they make themselves, you know? Either way, it's going to be really fascinating to see what this does differently. Because there's been rumors and things such as how Michael, Legacy Kill HD kind of put them together here. They've overhauled the blocking mechanic, implying also at different times that there's going to be a parry system in line with what you might see in a Dark Souls game. Sneak icons are now highlighted. Stamina system has been modified. All of the UI and HUD has been overhauled allegedly to make it more palatable to younger audiences, is what the person said. And if you're wondering where all this came from, there was an employee, a Virtuos employee, who said that he worked on this and put all of this in his LinkedIn. Oops. And so yeah, that's how we know about it. But we'll find out tomorrow, I'm sure. But hit reactions added. Archery has been overhauled as well. Some of the stealth stuff's been overhauled. But we don't know where the changes start and stop. That's the other piece here. Remastered to me suggests that there's a lot more of the original DNA that still sits in here. Yes, all of the assets have largely been rebuilt. There's very little here that looks to be from like the original
Ryman88
assets,
donated $10 through Super Chat.
Thank you, Ryman.
They could fix Creation Engine by focusing on asset streaming next instead of lighting and procedural generation. It could remove loading screens, at least in theory.
My understanding, Ryman, is that the problem with the Creation Engine, I did a whole video on this on I think it was the video where it was called, I asked modders if you can fix Starfield, and it's just, they said no, or whatever I titled it. But basically, I asked a bunch of modders and people with modding experience what's wrong and what is holding back the Creation Engine from allowing seamless environments to that scale. And it basically just has to go with floating point issues, or what they call floats. And really, really simple. This is my my very simplistic explanation of it, because I'm no expert in this field, to be very, very fair and clear. My understanding of it is every time you load into a scene in a video game period, but also in especially Creation Engine games, you start here, and then these coordinates you can imagine are like 0, 0, 0, right? That's the starting point. When you load in, that's where it sets the center point. And then as you move away, the coordinates might change to like 20, 50, 7, whatever, by 5 by 0. And that's the coordinate for it.
Flemnasty11 donated $9.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
BGS should go with the Sony model and remake Starfield next fall.
Just immediately. All of this just works.
16 times the detail.
That would be really funny. That would be really funny. I mean, they sort of will, allegedly, if they do like a PS5 release. They'll probably call it like the complete edition, and they'll do PS5 Pro enhanced overhauls and stuff. So they probably will do something like that, unironically, like literally. But my understanding of how this works is basically this works. The way that the engine has been programmed was designed for like games 20 years ago. That's how it was kind of established. But as time has gone on and these environments have gotten bigger, the details gotten bigger, it starts to break the further away from 0, 0, 0 you get. The further away from the starting point, from the center you get, the less accurately things are able to be simulated and generated, which causes all sorts of other problems with the physics sim, where like items don't drop realistically. They start to fly across the map, and just everything starts to break. And this is actually, what is the, is it Farlands in... Yeah, I think this is it. So in Minecraft, there was a phenomenon way back in the day when you got far away from the starting point, and it was called the Farlands here. And basically what happened is you would get here, and then the map generation would break. Because once you crossed a certain point, the engine's understanding of of how and where you are just starts to crumble. And they eventually fixed this in Minecraft, is my understanding. They recoded it and fixed why this would happen. But the same reason why you got the Farlands, where the topology and the environment would start to break and glitch out like this, and you just get these really weird structures, that is the same reason in terms of coding that causes the same thing within the creation engine that prevents them from going fully seamless, fully, you know, crazy elaborate in terms of scale with Starfield, specifically with the big environments. That's why they had to build them in fish bowls. You know, as for the specific scenes, I think that's more than anything just because the creation engine is built around physics sim. That's a huge component of the whatever Gamebryo engine, is to have all of these individual items, every fork, every block of cheese, every glass, every what is the damn name of it? Chalice. That's the word. Every single item in the world you can interact with, and it has physics. You can pick it up and drop it. That's a big thing within the creation engine. And that doesn't really work when all of that is seamless, because then the engine is trying to simulate all of those physics objects at all times throughout the world. And the engine, my understanding is, it's not built where you can cull and cut out objects that are farther away. Instead, it's built around scenes. So when you load into this room that has a lot of stuff in it, you simulate that. And then when you leave the restaurant or you leave the base where there's a lot of objects and you load into the open world, there's not as many physics sim objects in the open world, so you don't have to worry about it as much. And then you unload everything else. It's not like this seamless streaming thing. And my understanding talking to modders is that you can't just fix that. Like, that's just, it is what it is. In the creation engine, that's how it works. That's my understanding, at least. So I do expect that within like this recreation of Oblivion, there will be less like physics sim. There will be less of that because it's just not how this is designed or not what they're trying to do with it. But I don't think that's a big deal. I mean, I think people would much rather have a polished game that's beautiful than be like, oh, I can pick up this chain and it drops and swings kind of realistically. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But to put all of that simply, I don't think you can just like stream things faster and get away from the core problem with like Starfield, which is that environments just can't be that big. It just doesn't work. So there's that. But for Elder Scrolls 6 specifically, I mean, I think Unreal Engine has plenty of shortcomings. There's no doubt about that. Don't get me wrong. This thing's probably going to be a stuttery mess because that's just what Unreal Engine is. It's going to be really heavy and not run great. But I do think that a lot of what we're seeing in this remaster remake is probably like graphically going to be more impressive than what we end up seeing in Elder Scrolls 6, which doesn't mean that ES6 is a bad game. It doesn't mean that this will be better. This could end up playing like ass. You never know. This could look really good, but lack all of the charm and original stuff that made the original one great. We don't know until tomorrow. But I do think that the odds are pretty high that graphically, at least, this game will be a standout, which is outstanding. But some of the further leaks, as you can see, they had things like cosmetic packs and stuff. Horse armor is being shown as part of the deluxe edition. So I think that's very likely going to be there. Lots of cosmetics and stuff. So I would guess that, you know, some people have suggested that this is going to be like $40, but Game Pass Day 1, and if you want the deluxe, it's like a $20 upgrade on top of that. And I think they're also going to be selling these cosmetics and stuff. I think that that's a big component of it too, is that they're going to be selling that stuff. So it'll probably be pretty aggressive in terms of pricing, but it is Game Pass Day 1. And I think in terms of monetization and like cosmetics and stuff, there's going to be a lot there, but seems to be happening. All the leaks seemingly were right, and it's coming soon. I wouldn't be surprised if they do like an hour showcase tomorrow or 30 minutes showing what it is and what's changed. And then like, and it's available now. Because I think the plan was always to do something like this and then just surprise everybody when they shadow drop it. But now everybody knows that it's happening. So it just is what it is. But I don't think it's going to hurt it. You know, some people were like, I feel so bad for them. I'm not sure. Like, they might honestly be getting more attention now than they would have if they just shadow dropped it. Because right now, I mean, even on like Twitter, social media, just in general, you're seeing people that are like, I'm not even really that interested in Elder Scrolls, and I'm even hyped for this because it's just fun. Like, it's just fun to be excited for something. You know, it's going to come out, and it might be really cool, really awesome. we don't know yet, but either way, there's a ton of attention on it, which I think is a big deal. I do think the strategy is interesting, especially like we said at the top, and like Synth Potato brings up, I feel really bad for Clair Obscur Expedition 33 for its release this week, seemingly about to be entirely overshadowed by the Oblivion remake. Both titles are day one Game Pass as well. Feels like a particularly cruel move by Xbox to drop these two next to each other. Again, I'm not sure how much these cannibalize each other. And I think for Xbox, their primary concern is Oblivion, because Oblivion is their baby. That's something that they've built and made, and they get a lot more payout from it, I'm sure, than Expedition 33. Either way, it's going to be interesting to see how they compete, assuming that they do drop, in fact, at the same time tomorrow. But I don't know. I guess I do want to ask you guys, let's do a poll. I'm going to do a poll. Will you be playing Oblivion Remastered? This is, when I say will you be playing Oblivion Remastered, I'm going to say within the first week, okay? That's what I'm going to say. Just yes, no. Maybe I'll do trying, because it might end up sucking, but if it's on Game Pass, you might try it. But I'll do that. I'll do that. And you know what? Fine. You convinced me. I convinced myself. Maybe I'll wait for reviews / impressions / Luke's take, because I'm awesome. Okay, let's see. Because right now we're at like a solid 62% of you are saying yes, about a quarter of you are saying maybe, and only 12% are saying just no. It's not my thing. Interesting. So Clair Obscur seems to be a much more polarizing game. A lot more people are like, not for me. Interesting. Yeah, for a lot of people, Oblivion is just a locked in yes, because both of these are Game Pass, so it might not even necessarily be price related. It's just taste related, which could explain why Xbox, if they're looking at this data, they're like, we don't think it's going to cannibalize too much. That's interesting. If people are just genuinely like, fascinating. Yeah, it's pretty much pretty close to an even split. I mean, either way, I'm excited.
Eric Branke donated $9.99 through Super Chat. No disrespect to E33, but I was 10 when Oblivion came out, and it was one of the first games I fell in love with. Take my money, Todd. 16x more if you have to.
But something's
Praise
wrong
be
with
to-
the game.
Praise be to Todd. Praise be to Todd. By the way, if you're new to the Discord, yes, we do have an entire room in the server that is just the Temple of Todd, and we just post memes and pictures, prayers, that type of thing to Todd. Yeah, I don't blame you, and thank you for the super chat. I don't blame you. I think a lot of people are in your same boat, where they like, this game is just special to them, and so the nostalgia factor alone is going to be worth selling. It's the same exact reason why I've said that the Black Flag remake is such a no-brainer, like slam dunk for Ubisoft, assuming it doesn't suck, because if they can just get that out and let people buy the nostalgia of Black Flag, that will do gangbusters, because people love Black Flag. Same with Oblivion. People love Oblivion. And it's not been, it's not been run into the dirt like Skyrim and Last of Us re-releases, remasters, remakes. At this point, like, people are excited about Oblivion because it hasn't been re-released 15 times. Like, if this was a shadow drop of the next generation version of Skyrim, people would be rolling their eyes, I think. But because it's Oblivion and they've been allowed to miss it, that goes a long way. It reminds me of that one interview.
I don't think it's bad for people to miss things.
Right.
As well. So we just want to get.
I think that is it's a very important concept that is integral to BGS. I don't think it's something you just hand wave away, what he just said. I think that explains so much of how Bethesda operates. It's like, yeah, it's going to take us forever to work on these things and to get the next Fallout game out. Yeah. But as he says, I don't think it's bad for people to miss things. And I think if anything, that is one of their secret weapons, is that it takes them so freaking long to make games that people really want, that by the time they come out, people get excited. And even if it's not phenomenal, it still is just exciting because it's an event, right? It's the same thing with GTA 6. It's an event. Once every decade, you get a new Grand Theft Auto game. Maybe, in this case, once every decade and a half. You get a new GTA game. And by the time we get like Fallout 5, it unironically may be once every 20 years you get one. Which, yeah, let that settle in. Skyrim, the last Elder Scrolls game, will probably be like 15, 16 years old by the time that we get the next game. Fallout 5 is expected to come maybe like 2030, sometime between 2033 and 2035, meaning it could be very close to 20 years since the last Fallout game, Fallout 4. Granted, they're also working on a Fallout 3 remake, allegedly. But you get what I mean. So I think that the fact that they work very slowly actually kind of helps them generate this hype. Because for Oblivion, I think it reminds you of how, you know, what is it? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. I think that's what it is. And you see the opposite of it, right, with The Last of Us, where it's released constantly, 15 times over. And, it was like, I saw a meme where it was, name the last 5 games from Naughty Dog. The Last of Us? Okay, you got that one right. It's kind of the same thing for a while with BGS. It was like, name the last 3 releases from Bethesda. Skyrim? Okay, yep, you got it. But once you get off of that and you slow down a little bit and you're more precise and methodical with what you do, I think it works way better. And I think you see the benefits of it with the Oblivion remake reactions right now, is that people are getting really, really excited because the absence has made the heart grow fonder. And even now, people who played the game, 19 years ago? Yeah, let that settle in. It came out 2006. It's almost 20 years ago. Even that long ago, like, people, I think, are going to go back and they're going to compare the old versus the new version. And they're going to be like, oh, I remember this POI back in the day. I remember finding this cool thing. Now, I do think that raises the standard and the bar. I do think that they have to really nail this remake. Otherwise, people are going to be pissed. Because when you start to mess with nostalgia, you're playing with fire, You just are. It's why I've said, like, if they end up doing that Black Flag remake by the end of this year, they got to be careful. If they start, like, stripping out motion capture cutscenes and replacing them with the static, like, talking to a wall ones that they have in AC Shadows, that's not going to go over well. If they redo a bunch of voice acting for the Oblivion remake, that doesn't go over well, I don't think. So we'll see. He took my thing.